I would be remiss to not put this video out. I had someone reach out to me and they asked, what does transparency mean to myself? Because they've heard me use that term countless times. Transparency means, in a nutshell, to be authentic, to be you, to be unapologetic, to invest in yourself unconditionally. So to be yourself, that means you have to embrace all factors of who you are. Your strengths, your weaknesses, as well as having the ability to lean upon your moral compass. You got to bear with me because I've got a little fly. It's raining here in Virginia Beach that wants to be on the camera, and every time I move, he wants to land. So I'm trying to, wow, look y'all, I'm see if I can get this. I can't. What you couldn't see was I have wind chimes right out here, and a hummingbird came out of nowhere playing with the wind chimes. Sometimes if you allow yourself to be still, metaphorically, as well as physically, God will show you things you take for granted. And even sometimes, I believe that God is the ultimate comedian too. And I don't mean that to be sacrilegious. I mean that the term history is a tool that mankind is to learn from and to make proper corrections so they don't repeat the same outcome. But because we allow our pride and ego to get in the way, we allow our fear to misjudge us, we allow our impulsiveness to distract us. A lot of things that are intended for our lives are put on delay. But what does that have to do with being transparent? It's quite simple. Until you decide to be comfortable with being discomfortable, you can't claim your life. You're not living your life. You're living your life through the views and the opinions of those people that don't matter. And I don't mean that to be rude. I'm just calling it what it is. Now, how does that apply to society? Society worships man and the achievements of man and does not place God first. And that's why we're going through a lot of the things we're going through now. That's why it seems like society is becoming more angry. That is why it seems like all the remnants of the things that were at one time buried, there's a resurgence on it. And reason why is because there's no dialogue. And that cuts off right when I'm making a point. Like I said, you got to have a dialogue, but you can't even entertain a dialogue with proper communication, which means you have to be receptive to listen. How many times y'all heard somebody say you can't listen and talk at the same time? Just like having a bias without fact. that I heard someone say, well, I'm prejudiced for a reason. But why are you prejudiced if you critically think? Heard a person say, well, that's how you navigate through life and you learn. No, you learn through insight and wisdom and making sound decisions, even if that decision means you got to stand by yourself. But let's be honest. You realize how many people on this planet secretly are terrified that they're going to live alone? Did you hear me? They got everything in the world that could be afforded to them. Money's on point, got all the bells and whistles, and they miserable. Why is that? Isn't that a oxymoron, so to speak? You got everything you want, but nothing that you need. And you're wondering why people are paranoid. You wonder why people have lost sense of self. The reason for that is there is no transparency. They've allowed their choices to guide them away from what matters most. And that's that person in the mirror that wakes up in the morning. That's the first person you see. That's you. So the real question is, why don't you have a relationship with yourself? Why do you need an audience to define what you're going to do, how you feel, how you're going to respond? Maybe sometimes the best thing to do is just behold, take note, watch. Because if it's intended for your life, family, if it's intended, everything for your life will come to pass once you have solidified the commitment to be yourself. How many times have you heard me say, if Kim Kardashian had a right to claim royalties on the likeness of her image, how paid she would be? But you see that. Same thing with the music. New face, same strategy, same distraction. And this is not shade on your favorite entertainer. But if you were to ask them, hey, do you know God? They'll give you a roundabout justification. Because a lot of people mix this up. They say, well, I'm religious, but they're not spiritual. That's why when you hear the term of the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, you never hear them say the Holy Religion. They say the Holy Spirit. Why? Because you're a spiritual being first, family. The word religion means pattern. Spirituality is connection. So what are you having a connection to? And does that connection bring the best of you? Or does it exploit you? Does it hold you emotionally ransomed? Does it hijack your emotions? Because if you're feeling like you're on an emotional roller coaster right now, it's because there's something that you still have to do, but for some reason, you won't give yourself permission to do so. That's why I've always conveyed to the intended heart and mind. Get comfortable in that beautiful word called no. Who am I talking to? Because the word no does not mean forever. The word no means under review. We teach people how we wish to be treated, just as well as how we communicate. If it is not of your standard or your heart, why do you accept it? Who am I talking to? So someone asked me, what does transparency mean? It's about being real, not the facade. I'm talking about the person before you put the beautiful makeup on, before you put on the clothes. I'm talking about the person that got the split ends, that got the blotches. You may feel that your body is not at a certain standard and you feeling insecure. Guess what? You were given that because that body is perfect. Now, just as we are from the earth or we're from clay, we came from the earth, we'll go back to the earth. It is your responsibility to define it. Every masterpiece, every sculpture took commitment. What are you committing? What are you committing to? Are you committing to another day of drama? Another day of denial? Another day of deflection? Or is this the day that you decide to say, you know what? You know that one dream that I've had within myself? I'm going to hold on. I'm going to take that first step today. I don't know what that first step is going to show me, but I'm going to take that first step today. And you keep taking those steps. You keep reflecting, and you keep taking that step. Soon enough, you're going to get to a point you can reflect. And where you began is a million miles away from where you're going to end up. But here's the trade-off, family. As you push on, transparency also reveals truth. And not a lot of people are going to like this part. The more you commit to yourself, the more things are going to be revealed. And the more things that are revealed, they're being revealed so you make a decision for what's best for you. You may have had connections, bonds, friendships that you thought would last the test of time. As you've heard the metaphor, people come into your life for a reason, season, and a lifetime. But keep in mind, not everybody's supposed to walk with you, family. Not everybody's supposed to earn the right to know your dreams. Because an opportunist is exactly what that is. They are very covert. And secretly, they may be just going for the ride too. That's why they're with you. They know what you bring to the table. They already know how unique you are, how special you are because of the resource. May it be that you are very compassionate. Maybe you are very generous. Maybe you are reassuring. And these are the traits that they wish they possess within themselves, but for some reason they do not wish to commit the investment in changing. But just as I've always said to each and every one of you, an opportunist does not need your help to expose themselves. But what is required is you have the courage to acknowledge it when it is revealed. You don't like the way your life is going? Acknowledge what is not working. Make a commitment to change it. You don't need anyone's permission to be the best you. But I want to tell you what they won't tell you. See, an opportunist sits at this table called misery. And that table is endless. There are countless available chairs to be taken. And on that table, they're filled with excuses, denials, and non-accountability. And the price is your time, your mortality. See, nobody's going to come out their mouth and say, well, the truth of the matter is, I don't want to invest in my life, and I don't want you to invest in your life. So I just want to string you along. That's why some of you may be seeing this. When you're going through a rough patch, they're never around. They're never around. They can never give you sound advice. Why? Because they don't apply it to them to their own lives. How can they give you advice if I'm not living it? But the sad thing is they won't even acknowledge it in their own. Because it's easier. Misery loves company for a reason. That's another life stolen. That is another life. That's another dream being extinguished. That is another prophecy not fulfilled. See, family, you don't realize, for those that still don't believe God is real, answer this. If you wasn't a spiritual being, why is it the things that happen on this planet affect your emotions? Why do we have emotions? Did you hear me? I got cut off again. If your emotions did not have value, why do you feel things that indirectly don't affect you physically? Now we have our senses, but we're talking emotion. Why is it that it has an effect on the psyche and the decisions that we make in the future? You can't see your emotions, but you feel them. How about that heartbreak you went through? How about that disappointment you had to go through? How about that time where your money was so low you didn't know how you're going to make ends meet, but you made it through, didn't you? Who's that I'm talking to? The reason you went through it was to teach you, to let you know what you needed compared to what was in your environment that was setting you up for that. Who am I talking to? So when you hear people say, "No, that was fate. It just happened." Listen, that's an excuse for someone that doesn't want to take accountability for their lives. That's just like someone saying, "I can never change my body." But they are the ones that are critical when you see people that do. I wish I had a shape like that. What's stopping you? It's paid by sweat, proper diet, proper hydration, proper vitamins and supplements. It's paid by time. And I know for somebody saying, "Well, that's hypocritical, Gerald. You smoke a cigarette. How you going to talk about that?" Not to sound cliche, but I am human. But trust and believe in the intended time and moment, that too will come to a close like all chapters. And that is also the same reason why you haven't seen activity on my other YouTube channel. You didn't know? I have another channel as well. It's called Journey of a Man. Yep, Journey of a Man, all caps. You'll see my big ears over there. And that's my health and holistic channel. And I plan on heavily investing in that real soon. But I won't be doing it with this. And for some, y'all know I like to cook. I got a lot of smoothies that I like making. And I finally am at the point that I'm about to unconditionally commit to that because it is about your longevity, and what you put in is what you get out. The energy that you put in is the same energy that you will receive. Some of y'all call it karma, but that is nothing but divine intervention, because trust and believe, even those people that you think that, how is it they're getting rewarded but they've done nothing but wrong their entire existence. You do also understand the devil will use that to deceive you, like a 2-for-1. But then again, the greatest trick the devil ever convinced man is he didn't exist. Somebody said, well, what about them demons? Demons are alive, but you'll never see a demon walking, but you'll see the behavior through a vessel. See, a demon needs a broken person to do its work. That's why you've never seen somebody that has a strong faith possessed, because you're not going to see that. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And that's why the Jezebel spirit is so rampant today. She destroys families. She destroys lineage. She loves to prey on our kids. She loves that. But even she had a very terrible death. And guess where she ended up? In damnation. I said damnation. Mm-hmm. So don't get deceived. What is a man to inherit the earth by way of his soul? If your soul wasn't important, why would there be so many distractions to convince you not to be you? You ever thought about that? And this is for somebody. The moment that you decide to look in the mirror and say, I love me, your life will change. Stop beating yourself up. Get out of your head. You may be in a place where you say, well, Gerald, you don't understand. You know, I see these other people and they got it going on and they got this and that, and I wish I was them. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because you don't know what they're doing behind closed doors to get there. You don't know you don't know if there's an agenda to convince you to go the same route. You have not heard anyone say, well, you know, I had everything, but at the end of the day, it cost me my life. Of course you ain't going to hear that. Because their pride and ego keeps them silent. And the price paid is pain. And you wonder why there's so many schizophrenics out here, sociopaths out here, bipolars out there. All that is stair-step, family. They're all stair-step traits. And it was all began the moment that they decided to not love them. So what does transparency mean? Transparency is seeing the value in your life and knowing that your life is priceless. Your soul's not for sale. Why should your life story be? It is your story. And as I always used to tell somebody, it is not the responsibility of others to tell your story. It is your responsibility through your journey to define it. So where you walking? If you don't like the environment that you're in, perhaps that's not the environment that you should have been in all along, nor the company you should have kept. Love yourself more because you're worth it. Be blessed, family. Peace.